Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It On. Turning this quest to Untitled. Then I assume we'll get a meeting with Nocticula, which means I need to go grab Ember. After she notices you, Untitled gives you a displeased frown and irritably asks, "You again? Have you no friends? You must keep coming here to chat with me. Or perhaps, though I find this extremely hard to believe, you're not completely useless and have something of interest for me. I've completed your task." Untitled ignores you, looking somewhere else, but in your mind, you hear her angry hiss. So speak if you have. But use your mind instead of your flapping lips. Your mind. I know that you've done much to win Untilted's favor, but my heart tells me that helping her would lead to evil. Forget everything I've told you. We'll find another way to complete our mission. It is wrong to fight evil by increasing the power of another evil. Reject the promises of the ardent dream. We'll leave this place before we betray ourselves and our ideals. Shout so everyone can hear. Screw you. You can stew in your ignorance. What? You little piece of filth. A painful spasm twists through your body. Untilted's magic crashes over your will. With a bit of effort, you manage to force Untitled out of your mind. An angry grimace contorts her face. Oh sweet, I rolled a 19. You can't break me. Cursing, Untitled brings more force to bear against you. A vein pulses on her temple. In the heat of Untilted's magic, your mind melts like wax. Your knowledge of the Hendrian Crystals surfaces as the demon strips out your memories as efficiently and ruthlessly as a hunter dressing a carcass. And then I rolled a 4. Suddenly, the heat subsides, banished by a great gust of mountain wind, cool and clear. The hand of the Inheritor's voice thunders inside your head. Hold on, champion. Together, we'll overpower the magic of this fiend. Fight to the end. Keep trying. It won't work. Swearing, Untitled unleashes all of her power on you. You'll regret that, you little son of a gun. You refuse to talk? So be it. I'll just rip everything you know out of your mind. It didn't go up by a whole lot, but I did not get a good roll. Yeah. In the heat of Untilted's magic, your mind melt. Wait, we already read this. Alright, same description. Finally, she smiles in satisfaction. I've learned everything I need. Now get out. The demons in the crowd murmur and exchange whispers. You hear disappointment in their voices. It seems most of them wished you to emerge victorious from this confrontation, not the arrogant Untitled, whom no one has humbled in a very long time. They look at you with respect, even fear. After all, they would never dare contradict the ruler of the harem. One demon covertly gives you a thumbs up, then points at Untitled and makes an obscene gesture indicating her wanton ways. I have no time for you, stranger. Oh, shoot.
You are most curious, mortal.
You hear in your head a female voice, melodious, low, and sensual. And who are you?
I am the one whose attention you have been seeking for so long. I am Nocticula, ruler of the Midnight Isles.
I take it I finally have your attention.
Yes, your arrival in Alushinyrra was quite impressive. Rumors have reached me even here, behind my locked gates and my wall of valiant guards. Rumors of a remarkable Galarian taking my Alushinyrra by storm.
You hear a hint of approval in her voice. So I've been saying Alushinyrra wrong this whole time. It's Alushinyrra. I had a 50-50 chance of getting it right. I'm asking for an audience.
You have my permission to enter the palace. Go there and wait. I will arrive when the time is right. Until then, you will be taken care of by one of my servants.
I'm really not looking forward to replacing one of my companions with Ember. I need social for buffs. I need Nenio for buffs. Tila's my tank. Lan is a DPS machine. And Arushla is also a DPS machine, but she'll also most likely have some sort of interaction with Nocticula, who is the Demon Lord of Succubi. And Nenio might also have some unique dialogue with Nocticula as well, and it might be funny. So I think if I had to swap one person out, it's gonna have to be Lan. We're gonna hear Sociel say, "Oh, Shaylin says I'm gonna have to say you're pretty, Nocticula," and he's complimented all the other demon lords so far, or well, I guess not demon lords, rulers of the city.
Follow my lead.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
You're a good person. I like you.
I call this stuff on your taskbar, though. What does she have? This might be useful.
Yes.
As it should
Alright,
be.
so push comes to shove. He has Hellfire Ray ready to go. What's her alignment?
In yourself.
Neutral good.
Focus on the goal. That is not far.
A mighty demon, his chin lifted arrogantly, glances at you with no hint of interest. I want to go in. Our Lady ordered us not to bar your way. Alright, in we go.
Ahead.
House of Silken Shadows.
A success worthy of praise.
The ink on the page is still wet. Book tells of the murderous massacre committed by the Lady in Shadow among the Colossus demons of the Midnight Isles. Seems it happened quite recently.
No reason to pause.
The tall shelves are stuffed with countless books and scrolls, praising the Lady in Shadow's many deeds. Some tomes are old and threadbare, others are new and in mint condition.
I know the way.
This experiment has gone awry.
Nocticula established a good library in her palace. Why the Lady in Shadow needs this many books is a mystery. She likes to read. This isn't too big. The blade serves Our Lady in Shadow. A pile of sketches. The drawings depict fragments of various rituals that lead to the opening of rifts and portals.
Let me help.
Books written in multiple languages. Titles that can be translated or dedicated to research into the nature of souls. Oh hey, the part 2 of Lexicon of Paradox. Let me make sure it's not the same description. Where's it at? Yeah, this is different. Alright, so Lexicon of Paradox Part 2. Key to the Last Threshold. Many mortal researchers have ventured to turn their scientific curiosity on the phenomenon that is the world wound, noting that it appears to have a life of its own. Strange natural phenomena, spontaneously arising ruptures, unique vegetation, living creatures found neither in Galarian nor in the Abyss. Everything is constantly in flux, appearing and disappearing at unpredictable intervals. Through this movement and alteration, if not through its order, one can detect the logical functioning of the organs of a living being. The truth is that, indeed, the world wound possesses a semblance of life, and its very structure presupposes a connection to a living soul. This line of reasoning sometimes leads me to unscientific implications. Namely, if the creation is in essence a reflection of the creator, then can we say that the world wound is a reflection of my soul? The world wound was created and then improved, and at the same time, a being of duality was cobbled together from the essence of the abyss and the essence of a mortal soul. Normally, this process requires an essence taken from a creature with strength comparable to that of an imperial or abyssal lord, but there are ways to circumvent this requirement, in particular, through the use of the Hendrian Crystals' rare power. In this section, I refer to this being as the key, an instrument that allowed me to significantly expand and strengthen my original creation. Due to his dual nature and connection to the world wound, the key was given the opportunity to obtain amazing powers. However, everything has a price. The world wound is linked to the key, but the key is also linked to the world wound, and it carries it in his soul, like a deadly affliction. This affliction is, indeed, fatal. The duality of the soul grants amazing powers, and primes the soul's owner for transformation and for the bestowing of incredible abilities. But this duality is also slowly killing the soul's owner. This is a problem I have yet to solve. So we are the key. And we're tied to the world wound, which might have something to do with our chest, so whenever the world wound opens, or does something, that's when our chest ruptures. It's symbolic, because it's like the world wound is in our chest. But the letters written by the hand of Arilu Vorlesh appear to have a life all their own. Moments in attention, they begin to disperse, changing shape and moving toward the edge of the page, as though they are planning to leap off. The commander lays the second part of the Lexicon of Paradox next to the first, and the movement of the letters becomes more intelligible. The lines of both parts now seem drawn to each other, training to unite and form new sentences. Now focus on the text. Don Quixote's attention focuses on a couple words that seem to have only just swapped places. The words freeze, so they never moved at all. Out of the corner of his eye, the commander sees several words on the other side of the page begin a discrete game of leapfrog. Join the two halves of the Lexicon of Paradox. Don Quixote brings the two halves of the lexicon together, but nothing happens. No magic sparks, no extraordinary transformation. The Lexicon of Paradox remains in two ripped halves. All that happens is that the lines of text begin to move before his eyes. The letters of the two halves are striving to merge into words, but they cannot. But I compare the words of the lexicon's two halves to grasp their hidden meaning. Well, this is only us. We can't use our companions for this. As soon as the commander's thoughts turn to the lexicon's hidden meaning, the words begin to move faster before his eyes. The frenetic motion of the words brings to mind a wasp nest that has just been kicked. The words arrange themselves into sentences. The phrases begin to make sense. But it is a trap, a snare that will force the uninformed reader to set the book aside. Lexicon fights back against the commander's efforts, as if issuing a challenge. Can Don Quixote unravel the secret knowledge enciphered within it? I mean, we can try, but it's a 5% chance. We have to roll a 20. If rolling a 20 even lets us succeed at this. Let's set aside the Lexicon of Paradox for now. We can try boosting those skills at some point. I don't know if we only get one shot at it. Another Midnight Bolt. As you know, my dear addressee, given the scope of the planes, time is a relative concept, and the abyss will be even more unreliable. Therefore, I do not allow myself the vain hope that my message will reach you in time.
I will lend you my aid.
I will prove my worth. I'm trusting you.
Guess we're lucky we found that because our, well, I guess Lan and Rushlight have the same perception. Your final question was about the possibility of a complete awakening of the memories of immortal life within a soul that has already passed through Pharasma's judgment. I will send you the research on all the cases of which I am aware where such an awakening took place.
Ready for anything?
Despite the fact that this list is quite extensive, my conclusion is that all such recorded cases are the rarest exceptions to the rule. With the absolute majority of souls, an occurrence such as this cannot happen. Both the wonder and the tragedy of mortality lie in the fact that there is a certain moment after which the process is final and irreversible. The essence that departs the judgment of the Lady of Graves is no longer what it was in life, and we, as scientists, must account for this in the system of knowledge we are constructing. This is not a cutscene, I can't skip through this dialogue. We just have to wait. We're gonna click on it one more time, see if it's the same.
The goddess protects us.
Yep, same thing. Alright, to the other side. Our Lady in Shadow, the Queen of the Midnight Isles, Lady Nocticula, Demon Lord of Darkness and Lust.
That is not far.
Something over there.
I've finished here. Is there more? I'm glad I was useful to you.
I'll go ahead.
I've been making some headway experience-wise. Looking forward to hitting level 17 and getting some more feats.
I know the way.
Was there not a room to the south here? No, there's no door there. Alright. Gonna quick save and keep on trekking.
You called?
The tall shelves are stuffed with countless books and scrolls, praising the Lady in Shadow's many deeds. Alright, we've already read that. Our Lady doesn't like it when we talk to guests.
Follow my lead.
Then we shall not talk. So who's her servant that's going to take care of us? I feel like this is a trap we're going to end up fighting. Oh no, it's a Rilu. A stately shadow comes toward you. In its hands, a small mirror sparkles and shimmers with an unsettling light.
Greetings, Commander.
The dretch called the Suture grins as he shifts clumsily from foot to foot in a crude attempt at a courtly bow.
Lady Arilu, allow me to express my deepest admiration of your work, and may I just ask...
Under Arilu's imperious gaze, Neo stutters and awkwardly falls silent. Yeah, fancy seeing you here. I have a lot of questions for you.
You are looking for answers. That's good. That is why I am here. I have much to tell you.
Hint of a smile dances across Arilu's lips.
You have walked a long path, one where shadows constantly flicker at the edge of your vision, and questions multiply like flies above carrion. It is time for answers. At least, some of them.
Arilu lifts her mirror, and you fall into its cold, shimmering depths.
Day 16, Aridus 4715. Experiment, transformation. Subject, let's skip that. Objective, to embed the essence of an Hendrian crystal in the soul of the subject. Expected result, the essence will coalesce with the subject's soul, which will ready itself for total transformation, triggering the concomitant powers. The time has come to put my plan into action. You are my creation. Your power was my gift. Now you know.
Arilu stares at you, her gaze unrelenting, probing. The witch is silent for a long time. When she speaks, her voice is unreadable, betraying no emotion. Let's say I believe you. Why did you need to do all this?
You are asking the right questions, but the time has not yet come.
Ah, such special memories. Remember the laboratory, do you? I told you back then. Go on, look around. See all the ones Lady Arilu worked on. Here with us is definitely the place for you.
Dretch grins in satisfaction. The unseen angel does not speak, but his talent seems to thunder in your ears.
Your power is of the same kind as that of Nulkineth, Jeribeth, and the other demons that you have met. The power of the Hendrian crystal dissolved into the blood lies within your soul. I have already hinted at this to you once before, when I left the essence along with the Lexicon of Paradox in my old laboratory, and ordered the suture to make sure the gift found its way into your hands.
Are the insides of her wings gold? I don't think so. I think it's just the light of the lava reflecting off of them. It'd be cool if they were, though.
But there is more. Do you remember when you were taken to Canobris with a wound that would not heal? Do you remember how Terendelev apparently healed you? That was merely an illusion. The dragon was only able to temporarily dull the pain. In fact, it was I who saved you, when I came to you in the caves and implanted a crystal within you. No, saved is not the right word. Your wound is still not healed. That is why your wound weeps blood from time to time, every drop of which burns your enemies.
As if to confirm her words, blood begins to seep from the wound on your chest. Eerie flames seem to dance within the crimson drops.
This is pure essence of Hendrian crystal. My invention is far superior to the crystals used by Xanther, which were barely refined at all. It will give you new strength, and help you to overcome the wound that still slumbers within your soul. Take it. Take it, and you will see that this is the very power that has lived in you since the Battle of Canobris.
An elegant flick of her wrist, Arilu conjures a familiar purple shimmer in the air before her. That's not going to work. You need to tell me everything first.
Very well, then. Ask your questions, and I will answer.
Arilu winces slightly, but quickly regains her composure. What is this wound in my soul? How dangerous is it?
It was my mistake. My failure. I failed to... The tale is too long to recount here. Your wound is a reflection of the world wound, in a way. It is very dangerous, even if you do not yet realize it. It is not a disease, but rather an abscess, which will one day burst and kill you. It cannot fully be healed until the world wound is healed.
A shadow falls across Arilu's face.
No doubt you have felt this affliction on several occasions. It awakens when you use your power. It makes you sense more strongly what mortals call the corruption of the abyss. Until the world wound is healed, you will have no peace.
You followed me.
Like a witch in a fairy tale, I watched over you from birth. From before that, even. And I kept detailed notes. You were chosen and prepared for a special destiny. I am pleased to see that you still wear them. I enchanted them specially to protect you from danger. I am glad you found my gift useful.
Oh, the lucky bracers that I've had on this whole time. Rilu's eyes drop to your bracers, the ones inscribed with your name.
Aside from this, I helped you, even when you were unaware of my presence. I saved you and your unfortunate companions when you fell into the crevice in Canabris. In the Grey Garrison, it was I who distracted Minago to allow you to approach the Wardstone. And in Dresden, I appeared under the guise of Yoniel to guide you toward the Sword of Valor. And I also left you a present in my old laboratory, and told the Suture to see that you received it. I knew that sooner or later you would find your way there. That place exerts a powerful pull.
As it turns out, you helped me thwart the plans of your masters, Baphomet and Ascari.
They are not my masters. They are a resource.
Why was that whole ploy with the lab necessary? You even sacrificed your servant, the Suture, for it.
You always have to sacrifice something. I wanted you to go to the laboratory to see with your own eyes what I had been doing and what I am capable of, so it would be easier for you to accept the truth. The laboratory is the place where I prepared your ascent. And the Suture was the only one who I could trust to execute my plan and explain everything. After all, he too once experienced rebirth at my hands. And that is why I was willing to risk his life.
A shadow falls across Rilu's face. All you know is trickery and deceit. How can I trust you?
Honesty is a luxury we cannot often afford. I don't expect you to understand this now, but at least try to remember it for the future.
Tell me about Hendrian Crystals. Start from the beginning.
The Hendrian Crystals are formed from the solidified blood of demon lords. Their properties are not well known, even among the inhabitants of the Abyss. And there are reasons for this. Acquiring the blood of a dead demon lord is very difficult. After a demon lord dies, their body is instantly absorbed into the Rift of Repose. Only the Lady in Shadow knows how to kill them in a way that allows her to preserve the bodies of her fellow lords and transform them into a solid state. That means that Hendrian crystals cannot be obtained anywhere other than the Midnight Isles. Or rather, it was impossible until recently, when I managed to experimentally obtain a crystal from the blood of a still living lord. You saw the result. A dagger made from Discare's freshly shed blood, which I left for you in Canabris. As regards the use of the crystals, that is a discussion that would take time, a very long time. Someday I will finish my groundbreaking treatise on the transformation of Hendrian crystals, although it is unlikely I will ever publish it.
That explains the dagger question that I had. So, I've been collecting Midnight Bolts all along. I assume if I use those on the Demon Lords, I can get Hendrian Crystals? Maybe I can put one in my party members, but they already get mythic powers from me, so I don't think that would make sense. That's something to keep in mind. So you figured out how to use the crystals to imbue living creatures with power.
Not just any creatures. Demons. And half-demons. The soul must have a stable connection with the Abyss in order for it to receive the power of the crystal. Experiments involving tieflings and mongrels failed because the voice of the Abyss was not strong enough within them.
But I'm not a demon.
I wasn't a demon either when I started. But there are always ways to circumvent, or even to override the laws of the universe.
Rilu's eyes grow distant for a moment.
I changed myself by knitting my soul together with the essence of the abyss. And I changed you. Do you remember the fits of rage that began shortly after Discari's attack on Canobris? This is how the second half of your soul manifested itself. Not yet fully aware. Not yet awakened. It's a pity you did not choose to let your demonic nature take hold. The result would have been most impressive.
Well, that does explain why we had the demonic rage, because we had the light of or the angelic light, whatever it's called, from the sword. So I guess one of the side effects of this experiment that she did on us is we can absorb powers. So we absorb the power of the angel. The demonic rage, I guess, is inherent because she stitched us together with the abyss. With the Azada path, we did that with the Desna worshippers, and so on and so forth.
All those arrogant crusaders, those knights with their eyes ablaze, those pious priests. They have installed at the head of their magnificent army a scion of the abyss, the creation of the architect of the world wound, whom they so revile.
It's strange to see you here in Nocticula's palace. Who do you really serve? Discari? Baphomet?
Both. And neither. I have served both Discari and Baphomet, and not merely as the lowest in the pecking order. But I do not think you'll be surprised when I tell you that to me, both of these mighty lords are merely convenient temporary sources of power. And their time is almost at an end. But the Lady in Shadow is different. She is the preeminent ruler. Soon you will understand this for yourself.
Rilu's tone is indifferent as she informs you of this, as she were simply commenting on the weather, rather than her obedience before demon lords. Sorry, obeisance. My power is different from that of Jerebeth, Nulkaneth, and the other demons.
Yes, because I taught Xanther and the other servants of Baphomet and Discari the earliest version of this transformation ritual. I spent decades perfecting it until I obtained the power that I gave to you. Power in its most purified form, cleansed of the filth and chaos inherent within the original blood of the demon lords. Your power is as pure as thrice distilled water, but it resonates with other powerful sources of supernatural power, such as the Sword of Valor. And your power can change. You must have realized this already. You have shaped my gift into a form that you yourself have chosen. You are seeking answers, trying to understand the crux of the matter. That is good.
Rilu gives you an appraising look. What I want to know is this. What do you want from me?
Patience. Before we continue, I want you to receive your power.
Rilu nods the glowing essence. Refuse the power. I want you out of your hand, Rilu, even if it makes me weaker. You channel all your power into these words, and strangely, you feel a surge of power within you in response. You turn down what Rilu Vorlesh offered you. Your whole being embraces that choice. A wave of cold washes over your chest. The open wound becomes smaller, as if your decision compelled it to shrink.
That effect. How unexpected. It deserves to be studied, but I will see to that later.
Rilu warily draws back her hand, and the swirl of glowing essence disappears.
Enough! Enough of this madness! I was blind. O Lady of Heaven, how blind I was. I saw holiness in the half-fiend's creation.
The voice of the Hand and the Inheritor thunders beside you. Rilu does not move, seemingly unaware of his presence.
Away! Away from this festering hole! I must bring this terrible truth to Queen Galfrey, and save those who can be saved from this darkness!
The angel's voice fades, and you can no longer feel his presence. He has disappeared.
I want to help you close the world wound.
Aurelia looks at you for a while, then she speaks. Aurelia's words are cut off by a quiet laugh. Sitting on the throne that was empty just a moment ago is none other than Nocticula, ruler of Alushinyrra in the Midnight Isles, a powerful demon lord, and the one they call Our Lady in Shadow. Her red lips curl into her ironic smile, and her large eyes observe you with keen interest.
You were about to say, we are going to close the world wound, weren't you, Aurelu? I see no reason to continue deceiving this mortal. Now I am convinced that he is quite worthy of serving me. I will even reward him with a modicum of knowledge about the events in which he is about to take part.
Greetings to you, Our Lady in Shadow.
Rushlight swiftly drops to one knee and bows her head.
It's nice to see that even surrounded by mortals, you haven't forgotten who your mistress is, Arushale. You may rise.
Saying her name wrong, too. Nocticula nods casually in the succubus's direction.
I didn't mean to. I don't know why I did it.
Rushlight stands up awkwardly, looks at Nocticula first, then at you, with a stunned expression. Yeah, reach for your weapon. A word of warning. Don't play games with me. I'm not afraid to fight you. I should ask these first. You've been sitting on your throne and listening to us this whole time.
Naturally. I am in the habit of observing my servants and guests while remaining unseen. Their private thoughts fly most eagerly from their lips when they believe themselves to be unwatched. And secrets exchanged in whispers are often invaluable.
I have too many questions, and I demand answers.
You are a guest here, mortal. A guest of the Lady in Shadow, the vanquisher of many a demon lord. I am the only one here who is entitled to demand answers. You may ask your questions when I allow you to do so. For now, remember your manners and greet me properly.
Nocticula offers you a condescending smile. She speaks as if talking to a child. Okay, so I have a couple options here. Yeah, my character has a background in diplomacy as an aristocrat, but I also like to fight. And I think future playthroughs as well. Alright, so I'm trying to plan out my future mythic paths here, see what options we have. I'm sure it's not going to change whatever happens here that much. Yeah, reach for your weapon. A word of warning. Don't play games with me. I'm not afraid to fight you.
Do I truly frighten you so, mortal? That you must reach for your weapon? Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you.
She arches an eyebrow sarcastically.
I have had my eye on you for a very long time. You see, it was at my behest that Lady Vorlesh imbued you with such incredible powers. But I was curious to see your worth as an individual, not as Lady Vorlesh's creation. Thus, I decided to postpone our meeting and see how you'd fare in Alushinyrra, and whether or not you could win respect and power among those not so easily impressed by outstanding magical abilities. Well, you've passed my test adequately by proving that your character and your will are stronger than the Hendrian powers Lady Vorlesh has vested in you.
You are wise, my lady. However, only those who have never known or forgotten what it is like to be mortal can so easily dismiss the importance of power. To be someone whose life is fragile and can be cut short at any moment, like a candle snuffed out by a gust of wind.
It is a shame your angel has left you, mortal. I would have liked to talk to him. I don't expect I will get another chance, as that celestial buffoon's days are numbered.
Nocticula's tone is casual. Her eyes are intent, scrutinizing you. You're able to see the hand of the Inheritor despite all his enchantments.
The herald of that upstart goddess. Here.
Really tilts her head slightly.
Yes, although his defenses were quite intricate. A commendable precaution on his part, as word of the hand of the Inheritor descending once more into the abyss reached the Echo of Discari almost immediately. Mind you, vindictiveness and guile have always been among his best qualities.
The hand of the Inheritor told me his magic deceived the eyes of all evil spawn of the abyss, but not yours.
Perhaps you don't know everything about me yet, mortal. Perhaps you made the same mistake as many before you, and many who were more insightful and more powerful than you, by presuming to know what to expect from the Lady in Shadow.
Nocticula gives you a pleased and mysterious smile. Tell me about the Echo of Discari.
He is a strange creature, a bespoke creation, so to speak. Long before the world wound was opened, Discari, that little cricket, was seeking a way to have some fun on Galarian and assert his influence there. One day, he decided to gather a few strong mortal followers, fuse them together into one being, and pump that being full of his own power, in the belief that something worthwhile would come of it. That is how the Echo came to be. To the great dismay of both the Echo and the Lord of Crickets, the Echo was greeted by Eredin, protector of humankind. Eredin gave the Echo such a thorough thrashing, the whole abyss thought him dead. And yet he was not. Cricket, the younger, is alive and well, though I cannot say the same for Eredin. But the Echo remembers his humiliation still. He hates anything and everything related to Eredin, especially his inheritor, Iomedae. Her heralds, her priests, her temples. He would hate Iomedae's pet pug, if she had one.
This name is really funny, Cricket the Younger. Why does the Echo of Discari prey upon the hand of the Inheritor?
Envy, humiliation, ego. The usual playthings of little boys from all planes and realities. The Echo suffered more than one defeat, first at Eredin's hand, then under the onslaught of the forces of heaven. Those routes taught him to attack his enemies by stealth, boldly and often, killing and crippling anyone close to the light-bringing goddess. Now, it seems, he has decided the time has come. The Herald of Iomedae himself is in the abyss alone, without a retinue of lesser angels.
Nocticula shrugs, her expression bored. I see.
He's an interesting little bird, that angel. Before he became the Herald of Iomedae, he served Regathiel, the General of Vengeance. I've always found the fate of that Imperial Lord to be quite fascinating. Did you know that the father of the Upper Plains' top military leader was a devil from hell? Regathiel had to achieve many feats to redeem his unholy legacy in the eyes of the other Imperial Lords. But he did. A remarkable tale, is it not?
Oh. I bet you Nocticula wants to do that as well. It's kind of a parallel to Arushali's story, too. Your conversation is interrupted by a concerned-looking succubus who silently approaches Nocticula and then begins fervently whispering into her ear. Nocticula's expression turns hard and cold. As Nocticula ponders the new development, the messenger makes eyes at you playfully. You recognize those green eyes, except they were washed with pain when you last saw them, their owner bleeding out in the caverns of the Nexus. The succubus smiles slyly and gives you a wink.
Another island, another loss. Enough! I warned them that I would not stand for the desolation of my realm. They have not heeded me, and they will regret it. Go to your sisters, and tell them to prepare.
There is still Nocticula's voice. Nocticula sends the green-eyed servant away, and turns her face to you once again. That green-eyed succubus, I know her.
Yes, you've already met Laulia, my talented assistant. I've heard she was very convincing at acting out her tragic death in the mines of the Nexus. As you can see, I've been watching you since your very first moments in the Abyss. And even a little earlier. I have prepared a beautiful intrigue that will topple many of your enemies and seal the world wound forever, ending the threat to Galarian. And you have the chance to become part of that intrigue.
My companion Ember would like to speak with you.
Ember? So that's her then? Well, approach. I have heard you bleating your pathetic prayers at me. You have some nerve addressing me with such nonsense. Did you think I would simply repent? Renounce my status as a demon lord? Do you have any idea what I had to do to acquire it? Wait, what is this?
Cocking an eyebrow, Nocticula looks down on her. Tears are rolling down Ember's cheeks as she sniffles noisily. She presses her main hands against her heart as she stares up at Nocticula. Her fragile form shudders from weeping. Really wrinkles her nose in disdain. Why have you brought this simpleton here? This is Alushinyrra, not Nerosian. We don't give alms here.
I can't stand these noises. Do you think you're the first to try to move me with a display of tears? It only makes me angry. If you wish to speak, then wipe your nose and speak clearly.
Nocticula throws a disgusted look at the crying girl.
I know what you had to do. To others and to yourself. I'm so sorry. So sorry. If only I could ease your pain somehow. Calm your sorrows.
You should hear her out.
In my realm, I decide to whom I should listen and whom I should hang. Be quiet. You wanted me to hear the girl out. Then let her babble on until I tire of her. So, where were we? My pain? My sorrows? What nonsense are you talking? Don't tell me you pity me.
I'm so sorry. You're the most miserable soul I've ever seen. I've seen people burned alive, people being devoured by monsters, people burying their children. They were in pain, so much pain. But I've never seen anyone in as much pain as you.
After taking a trembling breath, Ember wipes the tears streaming down her face.
What is this saccharine drivel? What do you even know of me, Nat?
I've seen your city. You were the one who built it. It is the way you wanted it to be. It holds all of your dreams, all of your heart, and everyone in this city is suffering. Everywhere, all the time, every minute. All who live here are hurting and scared. If these are its citizens, how miserable must its ruler feel?
And this is what you brought her to me for. You think this infantile sniveling is worthy of my attention?
Nocticula's lip curls in distaste. I've seen the truth of her wisdom more than once. Perhaps it would benefit you to listen to her as well.
As if I hadn't seen enough sanctimonious bores in my life. So, what do you suggest I do, preacher? Beg the good gods' forgiveness? Devote myself to serving a sword-swinging upstart, perchance? Or that old crone, the moon?
Nocticula stares Ember straight in the face.
No. Gods can't help anyone. They're just like us mortals. Silly, frightened, clueless. You're almost a goddess yourself. You know better than anyone that no one can save you. No one except you.
Oh yeah, she doesn't like the gods. I just realized that in her background there, it almost looks like there's a church up in flames.
Save me? From what exactly?
From yourself. From what you've done to yourself. From the city you've imprisoned yourself in. Listen! You are a queen, but you're the queen of pain and filth. Your realm is a realm of your own suffering. You're almost a goddess. You can do anything you want. So why won't you make yourself happy? You could become the Redeemer Queen.
Ember's voice rings desperately.
all my years have I heard anything like that. Well, child, enough joking. Get out of my sight, or I'm afraid I might decide to keep you here forever as my fool.
Tilting her head back, Nocticula explodes with wild laughter. Her body is shaking. She doubles over, slapping her thighs with her palms. When she is finally done laughing, she catches her breath. As she wipes the tears from her eyes.
Do you think she took my words to heart?
Upon giving Nocticula one last smile, Ember ducks behind your back. You hear her whispering. Probably.
That would be great.
I told you to get out! I don't want to hear your squeaky voice again!
Did Arilu really create me? She certainly had a hand in your present state of existence. Lady Borlash designed the World Wound, a magical phenomenon of unfathomable power. To seal it required a key that was just as strong and unique. Simply put, it required a champion, and she chose you. Both your powers and that wound on your chest were the result of her experiments, when she infused your soul with the essence of the Abyss. Of course, you remember none of that. Everything was done in secret. Even the power granted to you was purified, to the extent that it was possible, so that you would not guess its source ahead of time. And trial after trial, we watched your will be tempered, and when the time came, we started filling you with the energies of the Hendrian Crystals. These energies are necessary for the task at hand. Everything that's happened to you was part of my intrigue. I was going to summon you and reveal the truth when the time was right. Instead, you have followed your queen's orders and arrived here early. One can only hope that you are prepared to accept the truth. Everything has its price, says Arilu quickly. Your wound was, in essence, the flip side of all my experiments. It was a reason why we required a true champion, not merely a living tool whom we could fling into the flames of the World Wound and close it like any lesser rift. I think you should know that. Nocticula makes a sudden gesture, cutting Arilu off. Don't be too hasty. We have burdened him with enough revelations for now. Give him time to become accustomed to the truth about himself. Then you can share all the details. What exactly are you offering me? I'm offering you the chance to become my weapon. Your enemies are a thorn in my side, as well as yours. What's more, I never schemed against Golarion, nor have my warriors taken part in the conquest of your plane. At least not at my behest. There is no cause for enmity between us. Why would you want to close the wound? When the World Wound opened, I was pleased. My realm was now connected to another plane. I wanted to make it into a crossroads of worlds, a place where demons, devils, and even angels could meet. The wound was a convenient path along which I could advance my ideas. But the Midnight Isles were not the only realm that had been linked to Golarion through the wound. The Skari and Baphomet now also had a way from their realms into your plane. Their servants flooded my islands and spread out across them like a plague of locusts, killing guests who are under my protection, questioning my rule. They are driven by their lust to conquer and enslave, whether in Golarion or in another abyssal realm. I was forced to shift my focus and express my discontent. Eventually, I thought the bones of our servants were reached an accord. I let their armies pass, and they would comply with my wishes while on my islands. Of course, the accord is a polite fiction, but the Deskarites and the Baphomets are attempting to amass their power and influence in Alushinyrra to overthrow me. When they think I'm not watching, they break my taboos and revel in their own impudence. And worst of all, Lady Borlash told them about the Hendrian Crystals. They realized what kind of power the crystals hold. Now they are determined to mine every last deposit hidden within my islands. Once an island loses its crystals, it becomes nothing but flotsam, slowly sinking into the dark waters of Ishiar. With every lost island, my power is diminished. I could start a war and kill the plunderers, but a major conflict would hinder some of my plans. So instead, I'll teach my neighbors a lesson by orchestrating their ignominious defeat at the hands of a mortal. What do I gain by serving you? A reasonable question. One must always serve one's own interests. But rest assured that you will be adequately rewarded. I will give you gifts befitting your ambitions, and my patronage, which you can certainly count on, will prove more valuable than any enchanted trinkets you could dream up. If you're so powerful, why do you need me? If I were to make a move myself, it would start a war. Not that I'm afraid of doing so, but it would hamper my more important plans. Baphomet and Ascari could never best me, but they could sow enough chaos and spill enough blood that visitors from other planes would shudder at the mention of Alushinyrra. No. I will wage war on my own terms, in the shadows. I will remain unseen until I drive my blade into the enemy's back. And since Godfrey happened to send you to my realm, you have the honor of becoming my blade, mortal. Be glad you're wielded by skillful hands. We should also reveal how exactly our blade will be employed. Nocticula silences Irelia with a sharp gesture. We can discuss the details later, when the moment is right. Now is not the time for idle conversation. How exactly do you plan to close the world wound? She rolls her eyes. It is a complicated magical process. You will receive precise instructions once you've captured the threshold fortress on Golarion. There, at the exact spot where Lady Vorlish opened the world wound, you will be able to close it. They're not telling me because I'm going to have to die, aren't I? I'm willing to bet you have to sacrifice yourself to close it. Well, maybe not, because I think the first DLC is supposed to be post-main campaign. But first, you have the Crusted Guardians of the Threshold, and their forces are growing by the day. Hepzibah, Baphomet's daughter, is mining a large number of Hendrian Crystals in my realm. These crystals are her secret weapon. No army on Golarion can stand against them. You must stop Hepzibah. If you do not, your world will fall, and my plans will suffer significant harm. Oh, and isn't Godfrey marching to Threshold? Or towards the world wound anyway. At one time, I disclosed the secret of transformation to two servants of Baphomet and Discari, Zathir Vang and Mutasafin. It was a well-calculated gambit, which bought us time and assured both Discari and Baphomet of my loyalty. Mutasafin is Hepzibah's favorite. He oversees the transformation of her army. Hepzibah is currently on another island far from here. The route to that place is plagued by pirates, monsters, tempests, and other more terrifying dangers. Have you heard of the living bubbles of frozen time that swallow airships? When the ships reach port, the crews discover they've been gone for 100 years. That is not the strangest occurrence you could encounter on your journey. I'm willing to provide you with a decent ship and an experienced crew. If you kill Hepzibah, it will stop her sinking any more of my islands, without giving Baphomet cause to declare war on me. Nocticula casts a sidelong glance at Alushinyrra. Then again, I'm not offering you anything new, as you're already enjoying my favor, Commander. Your companion is a succubus, and I'm the succubus queen. This demon follows you around only because I allow it. Tell me, Alushinyrra, are you grateful that I'm not forbidding you from traveling with the commander and fighting against your own kind? The succubus reluctantly lowers her head. You're incredibly generous, Our Lady in Shadow. Tila winks at you. So what do you think, Commander? Personally, I'd rather take my chances rowing to another island far from here, in a rusty bucket, than make any deals with the Lady in Shadow. I'll steer. Why is it so important to kill Hepzibah? Discari and Baphomet won't just stand there and watch you close the world wound. They'll send their armies after you, so you need an army of your own. That is something the Crusaders won't have for long. Hepzibah is mining more and more Hendrian Crystals to empower her forces when she attacks Golarion. If you don't stop her, the Crusader resistance will be crushed. The ranks of demons pouring through the world wound into your world will multiply 100-fold. You were sent here to cut off the demon army's supply of Hendrian Crystals, weren't you? Well, that's exactly what you're going to accomplish. I won't help you. And help yourself. As long as the world wound exists, your soul will not heal. And there's only one path to closing it. A path which leads directly over Hepzibah's corpse. Nocticula breaks into laughter, then fixes you with a lingering look that is not one of anger or contempt. Am I asking for your help? I'm the one who's helping you. If you don't do what I need you to do, you'll die from your wound sooner or later, and nobody will be able to cure it. You still don't understand. We both want Hepzibah dead, and her plans ruined. Even if you're too proud to accept my aid, even if you leave here, you'll still be moving toward your goal. A goal that serves my interests as well. So you have no choice, really. You cannot swim all the way to the other end of my realms, where your enemy awaits. I'm offering to help you, and demanding nothing in return. There is no reason to quarrel and sling hurtful words at one another. You wouldn't want to hurt my feelings, would you? Nocticula's smile turns predatory. No, I won't serve you. Bloodthirsty rage flashes across Nocticula's face. but she immediately regains her composure, shrugging in a show of indifference. As you wish. You will still serve my plans and thwart Hepzibah. If you don't want to sail to Polifir on my ship, that's fine. Get your own. Swim there yourself if it pleases you. And then, once Baphomet's daughter is dead, you will try to close the world wound. You have no choice but to try, given your condition. Which means, I stand to win either way. I wish to inform you of treason. Nocticula looks quite amused. Is that so? Who is it you decided to inform on? And more importantly, how did you learn of these traitors, and how credible are these accusations? A friend of mine, the storyteller, has peered into the future. In this vision, Hepzibah was sending demons after you. The demons were strengthened by the Hendrian Crystals. A hint of dangerous excitement creeps into her voice. You're a font of knowledge, my dear guest. Let's just say I'm not surprised by her appetites. The ambitions of that brat, her lecherous goat of a sire, were bound to surface sooner or later. But your warning will encourage me to keep a closer eye on her. You could have gone to Hepzibah with this and received payment for your silence. Your foresight must not go unrewarded. Shamira is researching the Hendrian Crystals in secret. Perhaps she is planning to overthrow you. A small smile appears on Nocticula's lips. How nice of you to warn me. I'm impressed. I do wonder, however, do you really think I was unaware of this? Or did you merely want to demonstrate your loyalty? Either way, I appreciate you telling me. I'll take this as proof that I can rely on you. You're very astute to uncover Shamira's desire to dethrone me, and it was particularly sensible of you to keep your mouth shut about the secrets of the Hendrian Crystals. I suppose your caution calls for a reward. At the snap of Nocticula's fingers, one of the servants approaches you and presents you with a delicate package wrapped in a gossamer-like silk. Mining the Hendrian Crystals is a surefire way to sink the island the crystals are on to the bottom of Ishiar. I assume you understand why all who attempted to procure them on Alanithia were executed. At least you didn't tell Shamira about the mines you found. Last thing I need is the ardent dream burrowing under my capital. Why do you still tolerate Shamira? Someone has to deal with trivial matters. Shamira's betrayal was assured the moment I made her my favorite, just as Zyphorian's before. The second always dreams of rising to be the first. I know the feeling well. I've said everything I wanted to say. Nocticula nods graciously. I killed Willidus, your court mage. Nocticula shows no hint of sadness. I am aware of this, of course. It is lamentable in a way, since his fear of me is strong enough to make him impeccably loyal. However, his death is but a single move in a much larger game. In games like this, losing a few pawns is unavoidable. I want to ask you about other powerful denizens of the Abyss. Are you interested in one of my servants? Or do you wish me to tell you something about your enemies? What is your relationship with Erilu? She works for me, isn't it obvious? Lady Vorlesh is very talented. She may be the most brilliant and capable mind ever to come from your plane. And the gal she used to betray one demon lord master after another impressed me so much that I offered her the position of my advisor on matters of magic. Naturally, the Asurum Lord Goat and Lord Locust don't know a thing about the betrayal of their faithful lackey, Lady Vorlesh. I plan to keep it a secret for a while longer. Betrayal is too strong a word. Open the path to Galarian for those two, and I told them how to extract power from the Hendrian Crystals. That will suffice. Doesn't it bother you that Erilu serves another master? Nocticula smiles deviously. I'm not prone to jealousy. A Discari think Lady Vorlesh serves him. His bug brain seems incapable of sensing betrayal. As for Baphomet, he, like any talented liar, is most vulnerable when he's trying to deceive someone else. He was so pleased to fool Discari that he became blind to the treachery that was happening right under his snout. In truth, Lady Vorlesh's loyalty is mine alone. Loyalty is for fools. Shared interest is what rational minds rely on. That, and fear. No one in their right mind would oppose the Lady in Shadow. How did Erilu become your servant? When the Whirlwind was first opened, it only led to Discari's realm. But then there was another, more powerful breach. The wound expanded, and its paths now pass through my realm, and Baphomet's as well. Before long, all sorts of interlopers had heard about the power contained within the crystals, here, and the Midnight Isles were soon overrun with agents from my new neighbors. They flattened my embargo, burrowing greedily into my rocks, stealing my crystals. The main culprit was one Arilu Vorlesh. She was the one who discovered the energies of the Hendrian Crystals. I had captured her, and was about to carry out her agonizing execution, when Lady Vorlesh offered me something I desired even more than her death. She entered my service. Her main task since then has been to close the world wound. Once it is sealed, my realm will once again be cut off from those of Baphomet and Discari, and their slaves will no longer be able to infiltrate my islands with such ease. Do you remember the elven archmage who used to serve you thousands of years ago? He's still alive. We know each other. Really? He's well past his youth even back then. And now? Just how old is he? Did mortals even live that long? Well, apart from your mortal Aslanti. Say hello to him on behalf of the Lady in Shadow, and tell him that the one who replaced him has disappointed me immensely with his incompetence. No matter how hard he tried, he can never live up to my magnificent elf. You know, you managed to surprise me. A rare occurrence for someone who knows just about everything. With the bat of her eyelashes, Nocticula sends you a piercing gaze, one that feels like it's delving into the deepest corners of your soul. Are Baphomet and Discari your allies? The goat and the locust. Allies is too strong a word for our relationship. Our connection was forged by circumstance, not out of a desire to deal with each other. When the world wound opened, it tied your world to our realms. I did not join my armies with theirs, but I was forced into making peace with them, so as not to get bogged down in a tiring and distracting war. If I had the opportunity, I would have met them on my terms and expanded my territories, at their expense. Nocticula indulges herself with a thin smile. Unfortunately, this is not currently possible. By the way, one of them came to me with the offer of an atrocious alliance that involved conceiving little ones together. I'm still contemplating the specifics of my refusal. It needs to be clear and unambiguous. Her ensuing laughter is deep and musical, almost enchanting. Everything is clear to me now. Nocticula just gives you a mysterious smile. I want to know more about you. Recounting my whole story would take longer than your brief mortal life allows. The list of demons lords I've slain is endless on its own, as is the number of islands under my rule. And that's just the past. There's also my future. How did you become a demon lord? Bear in mind that I have always been unique, ever since I was born. I was the first succubus of the Abyss, the perfect specimen of my race. I had been enjoying my youth, sharing it with my brother and lover, until the hungry gaze of the demon lord Hendrian fell upon me. That greedy tyrant saw me as a jewel to be added to his treasure hoard. He tried to abduct me. I knew I had no chance of defeating a demon lord, but in that moment, I was not thinking at all. I was fighting for my freedom. When it was all over, Hendrian was dead. I eviscerated him, and for many days afterward, blood spewed from his open carcass. First his body turned to stone, and then his blood, which had been flowing like a stream, began to crystallize into massive purple glaciers. Now do you see why they are called Hendrian Crystals? Perhaps they should be called Nocticulan Crystals, because as the Hendrian's blood crystallized, so too did my understanding of my power. Soon after, I began my campaign of conquest. I was cunning and swift, and the demon lords themselves trembled before me, knowing I could take their very lives. Only when all the Abyss spoke my name with terror and reverence did I decide that I had killed enough. I had a realm. I had power I no longer shared with my brother. I had servants. And most importantly, I had safety. No one has ever repeated old Hendrian's mistakes. No one has tried to make me their slave. Are the Midnight Isles really the corpses of slain demon lords? Yes. My realm is quite literally built on the bones of my slain enemies. Ironic, isn't it? So is her brother the first incubus then? If she's the first succubus, I would assume. How did you turn the dead demon lords into islands? Nocticula responds with a mocking smile. Surely you don't expect me to reveal the secret to you. There's no need for mortals to learn it for the weaknesses of demon lords. All I can say is that everything started with my desire for revenge. After I dealt with the Hendry, I was furious at the thought of that vile, lecherous wretch just teleporting over to the Rift of Repose, where he could turn to stone and stay there to rot for the remainder of eternity. I wanted to trample his foul corpse, to keep his bloodied body within my sight forever. I yearned to display my glorious trophy to all the Abyss, and that's when my power first manifested. I studied my newfound abilities and learned how to use them. Before long, I possessed not just one island, but an entire archipelago. What do you plan to do next? Subdue all of the Abyss? Possibly. Or perhaps have something grander in mind. The Abyss. Who cares about the Abyss? Nocticula's full-throated laughter rings out like a challenge to the entire world. I have no more questions. It's always nice to indulge one's curiosity. I have a question. From her sleeve, Nano produces a pencil and a piece of paper. Lady Nocticula, how many copulation partners have you had? I'm making a list for the encyclopedia, and I believe you may take one of the top spots. Tila tries prodding Nenio's side, but not before the question is asked. For a few tense moments, Nocticula peers into Nenio's face and yours, then smiles at the slightest curve of her lips. What matters to me is not quantity, but quality, and I'm well ahead of any other denizen of the Abyss in that regard. That is where we will end this discussion. So I don't know if I want to have her send guards to my camp, because they could easily betray everyone who's currently there. But we have a pretty robust camp, so I think we'll be fine. If I'm to depart for Colifir, the guards must watch over my camp in the Nexus, and all who are residing there. With a shrug, Nocticula responds coldly. Your behavior is insolent. You refuse to carry out my will. Why should I concern myself with a band of mortals you happen to care about? Alright, so I'd have to use her ship for that, I think. I still have some business to take care of in Alushinyrra. Nocticula nods to herself. Arilu, you're no longer needed here. As you will, my lady. Arilu vanishes. Do you notice the look in her eyes? Pensive and appraising. Nocticula casts a piercing glance at the spot where Arilu was but a moment ago. It stops you with a commanding gesture. There's one more thing we must discuss. The Lexicon of Paradox, Lady Vorlesh's magical treatise that contains many secrets of the World Wound. You and my servant Lady Vorlesh were just talking about the Lexicon of Paradox. For many years, it has remained split in half, harmless. But what was once divided can be made whole again. Who knows what power the book could impart to its owner? What if they expand the World Wound even further, or connect it to other planes? Not a chance. The Lexicon of Paradox has caused more than enough trouble already. You already possess the first half of the book. Find the other one and bring them both to me. I'll reward you handsomely. Giving the book into my keeping will also protect Galarian from suffering a second World Wound disaster. The Lexicon of Paradox will be much safer under my watchful eye than in your travel bags. Wouldn't you agree? That's now two people we could potentially give the Lexicon to. You give it to Galfrey before you head to the Abyss, and now you can give it to Nocticula. I'm going to hold on to it, of course. I assume if you give it to Galfrey, that's part of the romance, but I'm not sure. Why do you need this book? One World Wound alone has been enough of a nuisance for me. I want to ensure that some future mage leafing through this book doesn't link my realm to another plane. Yeah, forget about the Lexicon of Paradox. You won't get the book. Nocticula's eyes narrow ever so slightly as she looks at you, like a cat watching a mouse. Such defiance can be dangerous. I asked your permission and merely as a courtesy, but I will let you keep the book. Fortunately for you, I'm not particularly interested in it. Alright, I still have some business to take care of in Alushinyrra. You've taken a liking to my city, I see. Well then, savor it to the fullest, and then come back for a truly important business. Nocticula's lips part in a smile that is both predatory and alluring. Alright, so I'm going to call the episode here, because that went on a little longer than I was expecting. And then off camera, I'm going to go back to the Nexus. We're going to rest, and next level up, or next... I'm going to press T there. Next episode, we'll take our next mythic level, or mythic rank, And then I think I know who we need to talk to get to Colifear. There's a certain captain and a certain tavern that we've spoken to already. And I think she might just be willing to help us out. If not, then we'll come back and, I guess, take up Nocticula's offer. But I think that's why that captain is there. Whew, that was a lot of reading. Luckily, a lot of it was voice acted. For both my sake and your sake. If you don't want to listen to me drone on for too long. Alright, I'm going to call it here, and I'll go back to the Nexus off camera, and we'll take care of our levels and proceed with the main quest. And I guess we'll talk to Ember as well. We might have something to say about speaking to Nocticula. In fact... Oh yeah, we can try talking to Rushlai as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.